Why is real life such a troll? A clever, ironic, cruel troll. Whatever. My roommate is a vampire. Chapter 17. Taming the Beast. I stared, hopelessly confused. Was I having a literal conversation with myself? She spoke, this time in a much more refined manner. I'm kidding. Her feral eyes were lit with amusement. Where am I? Who are you? Well, in your head. And I'm you, of course. My throat went dry. Well, at least the more canine side of you. Squirrel! Her head suddenly darted off into space. I'm kidding again, she cackled. Her laugh was throaty. Oh, that never gets old. Right, I said slowly, unsure of the lichen's intentions. So, what brings you to my head? I should be asking you that. Do you like what I've done with the place? She twirled around with her clawed hooves, humming a familiar tune before falling down, splayed on her back. It's very clean. She didn't seem very hostile. Nothing like that voice constantly whispering of dominance and pack mentality. She was quirky, but friendly. She laughed again. You don't have to lie. You're me, remember? She stood up, trotting over, and steadily, almost dancing as she poked me on the nose. I know all your secrets. Suddenly she didn't seem all that friendly. I hear all your thoughts. She clucked her tongue, her eyes flashing wickedly. Oh yes, those niggling thoughts in the back of your head. Your insecurities. She grinned wolfishly, turning around, flicking her tail in my face. Yeah, not friendly at all. I'm only you, but better. I glanced up sharply, my eyes flashing. Hostile. There it is, she pointed. That look, I've been waiting to see that. What do you want? You, of course. I get so bored in here. I only want to come out and play, she said sweetly, as if it was the most obvious thing. You have no idea what it feels like being trapped in a cage. Or maybe you do. What's that supposed to mean? All your miserable life, you've been caged in like a dog inside that mansion of yours. Quite the gilded cage. I shook my head. You have no idea what you're talking about. Don't I? I'm you, after all. I suspect, she grinned toothfully, that I know you better than any pony. She trotted around in a circle. Your parents, I glared. Don't you dare! The lichen turned to look me in the eye with a pathetic look, brushing a strand of her straggling mane. They never love you. You're lying. And now you've only moved to another cage. Only this time, your cage is a little more trashy, and now you have a roommate, don't you? She snickered. She's got you on a tight leash, doesn't she? I don't know what you're talking about. Stop playing dumb, she roared. You and I both know she has you wrapped around her hoof like some kind of pet. You're wrong. Maybe I should speak in musical terms so this gets through your hard head. She raised her voice higher, circling me now. You're always going to be bass, the accompaniment to the melody, playing second fiddle. You're never going to be the first chair cellist because you're weak, and only one of us can be alpha. You think I care about that nonsense? I snapped. Maybe you don't, but I won't have some weakling blessed with this power sitting around with idle hooves. I fumed. Look at you, sniveling. Compassion is the enemy, she barked. Mercy defeats us. I clenched my jaw, tensing my body. I could feel the changes starting to happen. But this time, instead of unbridled rage, I felt something else. Tranquility. A calm fury. I could feel the claws starting to prick out of my hooves, my fangs filling my mouth, lining my jaw with razor-sharp teeth. My senses grew sharper. Everything became clear, even though there wasn't much to see, smell, or hear. The only thing I had to focus my anger on was the creature right in front of me. I'm keeping my body. Oh, going to hit me now? The lichen leaned in, giving me a clear shot at her jaw. Here, I'll give you an easy one. In the blink of an eye, I swung my hoof wildly, managing to connect with the underside of her jaw with a sickening crack. The sucker punch threw her off her feet and onto her back. Not bad. It still doesn't change the fact that your mother doesn't love you. Shut up! Another punch, right to her muzzle. Blood streamed freely from her broken nose. If I hadn't wanted to throttle her so much, I would have been disgusted with getting my coat stained. Did she ever hug you? Kiss you goodnight? She taunted. You were never good enough for her, Octi. My anger flared even more at her usage of my beloved nickname. Shut up! I swiped at her, my claws raking at her coat. Always average, always making mistakes. You could never satisfy her. She always wanted a unicorn. Shut up! I tackled her, screaming, frothing at the mouth. Not a friend in the world. Shut up! Shut up! There was nothing left but the sound of me slowly crushing her throat with my hooves. She gasped with a wet gurgle, and I tightened my grip, feeling her struggle for air. I'm glad we could work things up, she rasped. Although technically, you're trying to strangle yourself right now. I released the death grip I had around her neck, huffing and puffing. She rolled over onto her side, bruised and battered. Wow. You've got a mean right hook. Listen, what I said about vinyl. I lunged forward to kick her right in the gut, hearing a rib break. She groaned. Ow, that hurts, you know. Save it, I bristled. No, listen. That's your problem. You never listen. She sighed. Why can't you be more assertive out there? What you have with vinyl is wonderful. Really now? Then why am I here with you? I hissed bitterly, staring down at my claws. I dug them into the ground. Maybe because you love her. I glanced up, frowning. She shrugged. I don't know, seeing as you don't even know. Yes, well, I'm starting to have second thoughts about her. She's nothing but trouble, I found myself saying. I nearly jumped when I felt her wrap her hooves around my neck from behind, giving me a tender hug. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But right now, she's not the enemy. The silver horseshoes, remember? Or did you already forget? I know the answer. I got glimpses of her out of the corner of my eye, felt her presence everywhere I went. And, like it or not, I needed her right now. Squirrel, I murmured. Octi, wake up! I thrashed, trying to fight off my invisible attacker. I snapped my eyes open, gasping. Vinyl! She held me down, trying to soothe me with her presence. Shh. I'm here. It's all right. Are you okay? Vinyl hugged me tighter and tighter. I saw a cut on her leg. Vinyl! You're hot! She pushed me away. Stuff it. Had a bad dream? When you're waking up, the world is a blur. What was clear in a dream suddenly makes no sense. You could say that. These moments, blinding as snow, they change you. You die and live again, remade. Reborn anew, able to wield the darkness inside. Wielding the shadow. They say there are various stages of grief. I had still been grieving, not for the loss of a loved one, but for myself. I thought I'd lost myself that night. It seemed so far away. First came denial. I was trying to pretend that nothing happened. I tried to lie to myself, and hopefully trick my brain into thinking that I was still the same Mare I'd always been. I refused to accept reality. Then came anger, and I was angry. But instead of expressing that anger in a constructive, wholesome manner, I let it fester. I let it bottle up inside as long as I could, until I'd been given a good shake, ready to explode. You okay? I glanced down at my claws, and then at her. smiling at my reflection. I gave Vinyl a sloppy lick on the cheek. Ugh, gross. Hey, get off. I laughed at her cut, giggling as she tried to push me off. It was almost morning, and things were all right. I had reached the final stage. Acceptance.